What's up, nerds? Welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm very excited for today's video. As you guys saw by the title, we'll be finally doing my December reading wrap up. Usually I like to do it right in the beginning of the month so that we can step into the new month ready, you know what I mean? But this time I just didn't have the time to film earlier, and so this month I should say, and so we're gonna do it now because I still want to do it. I like to take this time obviously to like recap the month and again sit down and talk about the month prior, so I felt like it was still fun and fresh. I hope you guys don't mind. Let me know, of course, in the comments what you guys read in December, how you're doing so far in January. Let me know all the juicy tea. And first, if you guys like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. You can tell I haven't filmed a sit-down video in a hot minute. First, if you guys like reading wrap-ups, if you guys like talking about books, if you guys like all the nerdy things, then definitely give this video a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Without further ado, let's just get started. So technically in December, last month I had only read 5 out of the 10 books that I chose for my December TBR. But that being said, since January started, I'm like maybe 75% through one book, and then I finished one of the other books. So technically at this point, I'm close to finishing 7 out of the 10 books on my TBR, which is obviously the goal here is that, of course, the TBRs are fun, and then when you complete them in the month, it's like, yay! But the idea here is obviously that I'm putting those books on my radar and I'm reading them relatively close to when I chose them, so I feel like that was still a success. At first I was like, ooh. But we kind of brought it all in, wrapped it all in. But the 3 books that I didn't read were kind of chunkers, but I really wasn't in a fantasy mood, so you'll see that a lot of these are romances. So honestly, let's just jump right in. We started off with a darker romance, but this is Hexed by Emily McIntyre. This is a monstrosity. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a great one. I feel like these are types of books though that I always enjoy for like the moment, and then after I finish reading them I read other stuff and I like forget about them. But I did enjoy this one. I thought it was interesting. This is like an Ariel inspo, Little Mermaid inspo kind of video, except obviously if you guys don't know, the villain gets the girl, but like the villain gets their justice, if you will. And so the main girl is Ursula. I think they call her Ursa, something like that, which is just crazy. Her name is Vanessa, but I think that was like her nickname or something like that. But all around, I thought it was a great book. Is it like my #1 favorite book? No, I think I landed on a 4.5 star. I toyed between a 4.5 and a 5 star, but now I'm glad I went with a 4.5 star because it's not something that's like stuck with me. But I don't even want to go into the details. Basically, it's kind of like, I guess, mafia-esque, where, you know, all their businesses are a little bit shadier, so they're trying to do business with his family, and then he's in like an arranged marriage with someone. I won't tell you who. The back might tell you who, but don't ever read the back. I don't know why they write stuff on the back, you know? I'm just kidding, but sometimes I do read the backs. But anyway, so basically it's chaos, and then you get your romance, and then you get your justice, and it is tied up with a pretty bow, but nothing like super what is the word, special, but definitely very good and a great ending to the series, to be honest. If you don't know, it is part of the Never After series, but the Never After novels by Emily McIntyre. What I love about these is that they're all in the same like series, but they're not interconnected, so the characters don't overlap, which I don't know, I kind of enjoy that because you definitely could read any of these books whenever you want, like in whatever order. But this is a great, like, you know, tie the bow of this dark romance series. Okay. Then I read, I have to pop in a picture because I haven't bought this yet, but this is one of those books that I'm eyeing because if you guys don't know, I'm currently on a book buying ban, but this one I want to buy because it's going to go right on my shelves. It won't go on my TBR card, but I don't know. I just haven't yet, so we'll just wait and see. But this is Ranger by Rebecca Sharp. Are you joking me? So this is actually book 4 in the series. Apparently she wrote this series kind of inspired by Criminal Minds Men. And so this one is Spencer Reid, and are you joking? I think a lot of these were in a reading vlog, but either way, this book is so good. If you have not read it, I don't know what you're doing. I gave it 5 stars, and I wrote in the comments, Spencer Reed would be so proud, because it's true. Like, he would love this book. I'm sure of it. She just wrote Spencer Reed so perfectly, and it made me fall in love with him again, because I'm already in love with Spencer Reed. But love that book so much. This one's hard. Basically, it's like this. She's an author. It's hard to explain because, again, obviously I don't want to spoil, but basically the author, not the author, the main girl is an author, but she ends up getting some bad feedback for a decision she made, and she goes to, like, a getaway, basically, like, to get away, have some time alone, and she ends up renting from Mr. Spencer Reed himself. I don't actually know his name of the book, but whatever. So she rents a little apartment kind of thing from him, and so that's how they meet. And then honestly, crazy stuff happens. There's a little bit of mystery, which I ate up. I love that, and so everything was like check, 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 check. If you don't know who Spencer Reed is, read this book anyway, and I'm sure you'll fall in love with him. This book surprised me, but I ended up reading The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Laurie Gilmore, and honestly, every time I think about this book, I'm like, I love that book. I did go ahead and give it 5 stars as well. I just feel like it really like, it checks the box for, like, those corny, cheesy, cute romances, small town, like, everything was just so good. I just thought it was fun, it was cute, it just feels like an adventure, which genuinely this book is supposed to be like one giant adventure, and so I love that. Basically, the main girl, so she starts getting, like, left notes in her bookstore. She works at a bookstore. She starts getting left notes in her books, and she's like, what the heck is going on? So then she's like, okay, well, you know what, let's have a little fun, let's let loose a little, let's let her hair down. And so she starts to follow, like, the clues or whatever, and so it's so fun. Again, a giant adventure. This one is a really weird time. I think I said the best time to read this would probably be August, September, because it's not necessarily fully summer. There's still, like, they mention a lot of summer going into fall, so it's like that weird middleman, but the epilogue does end in, like, a summer. They're on vacation, so, like, really just depends on you. You could kind of read it whenever. I didn't feel like I was missing anything reading it in the winter. Like, I didn't feel like, oh, dang it, like, it wasn't that serious, but there are some summery mentions, like the beach, but also, like, some hoodie mentions and, like, fall, like, so it's that weird time. I would say August, September. Alright, so then we read The Enemy by Sarah Adams. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a fun one. I think this is all the books. Oh, that one too. A lot of these books were in my reading 12 books in 12 days, which I did not complete, but I read a lot of these books. I talked a lot about these books, so I'm not going to go too hard on a lot of these. I ended up going with 3.5 stars. I thought it was okay. I thought the match was much better, to be completely honest with you, but this one was fine. It was nice as well. I thought it was, I just think enemies to lovers is not always my favorite trope. It's just the one that's most overdone, so it's kind of predictable. It gets a little bit old. I think there were a couple other reasons why it wasn't my favorite, but 3.5, so I feel like you definitely read it if you're, like, in the middle of a series, or you just want something like a palate cleanser. This is a great palate cleanser, but not something you should, like, run out of your way for. Oh my gosh, then I read P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was nice. I definitely had, like, my opinions on this because this is a very sad book. It's a very heartfelt book, emotional book, and so I feel like we needed the time for that emotion. I don't think we fully got the time with that emotion because of the romance, but it's like it was a weird balance for me. But other than that, I thought it was a really great story. You feel so connected to, what's her name? What is her name? Maddie, and I ended up going with 4.25. Like, definitely would recommend, especially if it's like you got it in your book of the month, but I just think there were a couple, like, tweaking issues that's why I didn't give it a 5 star. I literally decided to, like, run and grab my Chick-fil-A. Anyway, so then next, again, all in the same video, we read The 7-Month Itch by Tanvir Peart. This book had so much potential, to be completely honest with you, but like I said in the video, that if I was not doing that video, I would have DNF'd this, because this is what not to do in a marriage. I'm not married, I've never been married, but this I know 100% for a fact. It was toxic, very bad. I actually do have a social work degree, and so I can indeed tell you this is not a very good representation of what a good, healthy marriage should look like. So if you don't know, these characters are already married, but they're about to like get a divorce. So the one friend brings her, both of the friends, honestly, best friends, end up bringing both of them to a singles retreat, and then they both end up being there. So it's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? So you see all that. They just were like, I don't know, not good characters. Really? Like, you're like, your girl, they both need to go work on themselves before they get married, you know? But anyway, I ended up going with 2.5 stars, but I really shouldn't have rated it at all, because again, I wouldn't have continued it if it wasn't in this video, you know? Oh my gosh, one of the most surprising books ever, but one of my favorite books, honestly. Oh, I did it. It was in my 24 and 2024. One of my favorite books ever the whole year was The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. Are you joking me? This book was so good. Ally Carter, I've never read anything by Ally Carter, but this book was so fun. It felt like a giant game of Clue, which I loved. Basically, they're authors, and so another author invites them over for holidays. Something crazy happens, so they basically have to solve the crime. It's so fun. It's like looking for little things. And honestly, there's a moment where you're like, oh crap, this got real. It got crazy real. And so just, it's so great. The writing is incredible. I could read 50 of these. Like, you can keep giving me the same characters, just end up being locked places, solving mysteries. I would be very happy. Especially too, there's nothing crazy about the romance. This ends up being closed door, which I appreciate. It's small. Everything is just like perfect. 5 stars, sweetie. 5 stars. Okay, I'm just holding Out on the Limb, but by Hannah Bonham Young, but actually I had read Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. So this is like the second part of this one, the interconnected standalone. These are the two characters, Sarah and what's his name? Caleb. They are the best friends of of Winnie in this first book. And so they are already married, which is really, really nice. But it's similar to the other book that I was talking about a little bit earlier, where basically they're trying to like they want to just work on their marriage, so they go on a couples like retreat, and it was so good. I really love this book. Again, there were a couple things. I had a moment where I was like, honestly, maybe like 50-60% through, and I was like, it could have ended here, like what's left? And then the ending kind of just like extends a little too long for my liking. I did get this as an ARC, and so it says it's an unedited version, so I don't know if that means like maybe spelling or grammar issues, or if it means like they could potentially like still like change stuff around. So I'm gonna try to reread this book, but I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, so it's like whatever. Then I read this little novella. It's not even I don't know if she counts as a novella, but it's a little short book. This is it's less than 200 pages, 180 pages. This is Naughty or Nice by Sophie Snow. Honestly, you get what you expect. It's just a cute little short romance he's Santa. He plays Santa, and she's like a photographer, and so it's just like a little cute, very quick paced cute little thing. There's not much to say. I ended up giving it 4.25. Again, you get exactly what you think you get, so definitely read. She does do like content warnings and stuff like that. Definitely read all of those, but it was just super fun and fresh. Like, cutie. It was fun. There is a major age gap as well, which this one didn't bother me as much as her other book, but just keep that in mind. If you don't like age gap, this one is age gap as well. Okay, I think this, well, I don't know. Okay, I don't know how this got in this order, but then I read All I Want Is You by Fallon Ballard. I ended up going with 3.25 for this book. It was okay. It was okay. I just thought like a couple things were weird. So this is like second chance romance. I just think second chance romance is going to be very hard in a book like this, especially I believe it was like a 4 or 5 year gap between when they broke up and this book. And so I'm like, yo, you got like 5 years to make up or whatever, and this is all we get. Like, that's insane to me. And so I don't know, it just wasn't like my absolute favorite, but it's just like a fun it's only one bed kind of only one bed kind of like trope, and so it is fun. I think they're also writers. Yeah, they're writers as well, so it's just like little things like that they're fun, they're fresh, but nothing like to like run, you know. Okay, then I read Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. This is the Caraval novella. I really enjoyed this little novella. I think the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I wanted a little bit more. I wanted a little bit more, but honestly, I can't even be mad at this because the magic that just like, oh my gosh, was able to be captured. I don't know if every version has this, but like there are so many beautiful like pictures, the art, and just the feeling I got from like stepping into Caraval again during Christmas time was honestly incredible. And so, you know, the specific story maybe wasn't like my favorite, but I feel like everything else, all the other components, like really like, what is the word? Carried for this book. And so I don't know, I just have to freaking love it. I loved it. And so I ended up going with 4.25 stars. I definitely think if you're going in there for like substance then maybe rethink it, but if you don't mind and you just want something that is gonna be so good, like something that is just magical, that feels so good, it makes you feel good, she's a good one. Especially if you loved Caraval. If you did not like Caraval, don't read this, don't bother. The main girl of this one is mostly Tella's story, just so you know as well, because I know some people don't like Tella, which I'm gonna have no comment on, but because I love Tella so much. But if you're one of those people, keep that in mind too. It's basically, oh my gosh, look how cute. It's a story basically about Tella, but the other characters do get cameos and mentions as well, so love that. Okay, then I read another book that I don't have, but I want to buy. This is Christmas with a Crank by Courtney Walsh. This book was so fun. Courtney Walsh, I figured out all the Walshes, but Courtney Walsh is the one, she writes like, no cursing and then closed door books. I believe that's all of her books. I could be wrong though, but I know this one was. It's just like very fun. It's very fun. It's just so exciting. And these two characters were childhood best friends, and now they're adults now, and so then they're trying to save obviously a tree farm. Come on, it's a Christmas book. What else would they be doing in a Christmas book? So they're trying to save the tree farm or whatever. The guy doesn't want to save the tree farm, the girl does. And so it's just super fun. She's a very fun character, the main girl. I loved her. I thought she was very fun. And then the guy, you know, he's like a crank, so he's the cranky one who's like brooding all the time, and I thought that relationship, that dynamic was so fun. So I ended up going with 4.5 stars. I just thought it was really sweet, really cute, and again, if you're looking for that for Christmas, definitely would recommend. Okay, then we finished off with My December Darling by Lauren Asher. I did talk about this in my Bookworm Brew video, which normally these videos are reversed, so this one would come first, but because I already talked about it, I will just mention here, I like this book, wasn't obsessed with this book. I ended up going with 3.25 stars. I definitely think if you're like looking for just a quick Christmas novella, definitely a fun one. So he is she's a nurse, I believe, and he's a doctor. I think she's a NICU nurse or something like that. I was like, you go, girl. But maybe no, I don't think she's a doctor. I think he's a surgeon. I don't know. Whatever it is, they're in the medical field. They're both in the medical fields, which I love. So I wish it was just longer. I do have to say, like, I wish that I could have had more time with these characters. I feel like someone like Lauren Asher, she writes such long romance books to begin with. So to have her condense it to something this minute, you knew stuff was getting cut out, and that's what like makes me so sad. So I wish that this was longer, but I did think it was super fun. And I definitely think, like, you know, again, if you're looking for something, you won't be mad at it, but like definitely don't expect it to be like, it doesn't feel like a full-blown book happened in this novella. It feels like you're missing stuff, but like it's not the end of the world. So 3.25. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, this month I'm so excited. I'm already nearly 4 books done with my January TBR coming, the video coming Thursday, reading vlog coming Thursday, so I'm very excited about it. This year I feel like I really want to obviously stick to my TBR a little bit more. I think like I can do like, so if I choose 10 books, I could do like 6 to 8 of those books is what I've been noticing. But if I choose 8 books, my goal is to try to at least read 6 of them, which I know seems like stupid, but it's like, you know, you never know what truly you're going to be in the mood for. And so it's not like, again, there's no obligation to stick to my TBR, but I like to, because then what's the point of doing the video, you know? If I'm just gonna like throw it all away. So I try to stick to it as best I can, but my goal is to be like 6 out of the 8. If I could read all 8 this month, that would be great. I think there's a chance, there's a minute chance. There's one book that I'm like, I don't know about that one, but the rest of them, I feel like I could. So maybe 7 out of 8. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Again, let me know what books you read in December. What books are you reading right now? What's your current read? I don't want to tell you because you'll see it on Thursday. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next one. Bye, nerds.